Welcome. My name is Kelly.
And my name is Nathan.
And this is Fanimated, an animation fan podcast where we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. And today, that means that we're geeking out about anime. And all of the Anime Award winners. Crunchyroll hosts an Anime Award show every year, and it's really just a popularity contest. Anyone can go on and vote for, one of, 6 or so different nominations for each category. Crunchyroll chooses those nominations by using a whole group of judges that are in diverse areas of the anime production world, and they go through some voting things to pick out the nominees. But for all intents and purposes, it is a popularity contest, and that's okay. Because you know what? It's just about having fun and geeking out about everyone's favorite shows, and that's what's fun about it. Did you vote this year, Nathan, on any of these?
No, I didn't know they were happening.
Well, next year you're gonna have to.
Okay.
My problem was that I didn't write down what I voted for, so I have no idea what I actually voted on. Oh man, so we're just gonna casually go through the winners, give our thoughts about them. Between the two of us, Nathan and I have watched basically almost all of the winners. So we have at least something to say about each of them. But in general, when I'm just overview, glancing at all the winners, for the circumstances of 2020, it was actually a pretty great year for anime.
Yeah, I spent most of the summer watching new anime come out every week. It was a great escapism, as we've talked about previously on a lot of these what you watching or shows and whatnot, that I would just essentially be binge watching the fluffiest, most happy anime I could possibly find in the dark web of the internet. So.
Yes. And we have quite a mix of fluffy and dramatic in this year's winners, that's for sure. So let's just start out with Best Fantasy. The winner, of course, is ReZero, and I taking no one by surprise. But I do want to say that I think I voted for a different one, actually. And here's why. Fantasy, when you think about a fantasy show, I feel like there are two big elements that you're looking at that are, different from a lot of others. One is the world building, because it's fantasy, it's a different world. Mm-hmm. There are different things going on. And then the other is the magic system, or whatever gimmick or power system that this fantasy show holds.
Right,
I think that's fair. Those two things is what you're looking at.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I usually always think of fantasy as medieval-ish too. It has that sort of ancient world kind of idea. But there's lots of types of fantasy as well. So.
Yeah, because even here, the nominees, there's Decadence and Tower of God, both of which are not medieval feeling at all, but are fantasy-ish.
Right. Yeah. Tower of God is almost sci-fi in my brain, but you'll have a lot of people arguing about what sci-fi actually is and if sci-fi is fantasy. And that's just...
There's a lot of overlap there, for sure.
Genres are strange, but...
They are. But I do agree that ReZero, besides being one of the most popular anime out right now, does have a really fascinating world and magic system that Subaru slowly learns over time through various unfortunate ways.
Continual death.
Continual death. But I would argue that there's one on this list that does an even better, more organic just uh life-giving. I don't know. It's so charming and wonderful, but builds upon the world in such a different way. And that's Ascendance of a Bookworm.
You love this anime, Kelly. The old soul librarian in you just loves this anime.
It's true. If you don't know, Ascendance of a Bookworm is about it's an isekai. So it's about this gal who was a librarian, and she dies and gets reincarnated into this world of fantasy and magic. But all she wants is to be surrounded by books. And so it's her very slow process of getting there. It is like a slower paced show, but it's just so like charming and wonderful, and I care about all the characters. And because it's slower, I really like this pacing in the world building, because she is a child and she has to learn how things function in her home, and then she finds out how things function in her neighborhood. And then, you're slowly building up this world, and you're slowly learning things as she is. And you're starting to see more of the complex layerings. And from those who have read the manga, I hear really, really good things about where it's going with that whole world building and the magic system, and like how their political everything works. So I really love it. I think it's charming. I know it's not as popular as ReZero, but if you're looking for a good fantasy that isn't about death all the time, I really love Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Well, if it sounds like it's going in a really good place, maybe it'll win a couple awards in some future seasons when it's built up that world a little more.
Yes, let's hope, for sure. Okay, next one. We have Best Couple, and the winner goes to Tanikawa, Over the Moon for You, which I have not seen. That is one on this list that I have not watched.
I have no idea about it either. Never heard of it.
I have no knowledge. I feel like it's one. I have no idea. I've got nothing. Huh. So that's us doing all of our research here. To let you know, we have not seen this one.
I typically am watching just like shonen battle animes, and they leave very little room for couples. So I'm trying to think of just like, oh, who got snubbed? And I'm like, I can't even think of an anime couple. So not my target category.
Valid. Thankfully, I watch plenty of shoujo anime and have very firm ships within this season of anime. And I have to say, first things first, and we'll see throughout this list that Rent a Girlfriend was nominated multiple times and never won anything, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh, okay.
Because I've watched several episodes, and that's it. That my eyeballs can't take anymore. And I was very worried that it's just your basic, really pervy main character and all of the girls that just magically surround him.
We're so over that at this point.
I'm so over it. I'm so completely over it. And I was really worried because it's really popular, and I was like, oh man, Rent a Girlfriend's just gonna win everything, and Kaguya-sama's gonna get shoved under the bus. But no, that's not what happened. Thank goodness. But I will say, I love Kaguya-sama, so I'm a little sad that they didn't win this one, because they're cute and adorable, and I love them.
I think if I'm remembering right, they won some others. So
spoilers. Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Let's keep.
We'll talk more about that. All right. Got to keep going here. Best score. Winner goes to Tower of God. Thoughts?
I know you like Tower of God a lot more than I did. It is an incredible anime. I can't even think of what the score was like, though. So
Yes.
it was probably good. I just don't remember it. And maybe that's the point of that it fits so well that it was unnoticeable. Maybe not the award winning endorsement you want, but
Yeah.
um, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Tower of God is this isekai where the two main characters, Bam and Rachel, get dumped into this sort of futuristic, competition driven world where their only goal is to climb the tower. And the people that climb the tower and reach the top are able to ask for a wish to be granted. And there's just a bunch of like very cutthroat characters trying to both work together
Mm-hmm.
and undermine each other in all of these different tournament style challenges as they continue to climb. And there's grand betrayal, which is exciting and
Yes.
heartbreaking.
I love Tower of God. Well, we'll talk more about why I love it in a few um categories here. But I don't necessarily love it because of the score. And I would agree that it's just kind of like, if anything, of this list, the ones that I do like remember hearing the score and loving is Great Pretender and actually Japan Sinks. And I hated Japan Sinks.
Well, that's maybe why you were paying attention to the music instead of the actual story.
I will say that whatever, sound engineering and just score that's happening with Japan Sinks does make you feel things. And it's not something I wanted to feel in 2020.
Yeah, sort of you gotta find the right thing that fits the mood, right?
Exactly. But hey, this is a Crunchyroll sponsored anime award, so maybe that's why they have a Crunchyroll original winner. I'm not insinuating anything. Okay, moving on. Best comedy. Here we go. Let's talk about Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
I am so surprised that this is in the comedy category.
Because it's a comedy, Nathan.
It really is?
It's first and foremost a comedy. It is a shoujo comedy, yes, but it is comedy front and center. Nathan, I cannot believe you, of all people who want something fluffy and happy and fun, has not watched Kaguya-sama. Listen, guys, Kaguya-sama Love is War, if you don't already know, is just one of the most ridiculous, charming, wonderful little nuggets of anime that we've ever been graced with.
Okay. Quite an endorsement.
It is so much fun to watch, okay? Like, it's a very tight little story. It's a very small cast. It's a very small environment. But it's taking all of the small little things that happen in high school life and turning the volume to like 1,000,000.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, I don't know if I can handle that. That sounds very cringy.
It's not. It is just hilarious. It's not in like, it's not always like about social awkwardness, although there definitely is some of that. But the basics is these two main characters are the president and vice president of the student council, and they both have crushes on each other, but don't want to admit it. And so they try to use like their random situations that they're in to get the other person to confess. So it's like things as simple as like just eating their lunch, and then they'll turn it into like, I'm gonna try to get this person to confess their love for me.
Oh boy.
It's so funny. I mean, if you're not laughing after the first episode, like the first 5 minutes, then yeah, it might not be for you. But I highly recommend everyone go watch it. I mean, I honestly, there are some really other great anime on this list, but Kaguya-sama wins hands down for sure. Okay, and now now that I've ranted about Kaguya-sama Love is War, let me rant about the best drama.
They're just lining these up for Kelly to knock them down. Yeah, when we said that between the two of us, we'd watched everything, but Kelly's also watched everything that I've watched. So it's really Kelly has watched everything on this list.
I admit that that is true. I have watched a lot of anime in the past year. And I do not regret a second of it. Well, except for the Rent a Girlfriend second, so I want to take that back.
Fair enough.
But best drama, guys, is again hands down not even a freaking question. It's Fruits Basket. And this truly is the shoujo of the year. Fruits Basket, and I've talked about it so much on this podcast. I am delighted to just have an opportunity to talk about it again. Because I have always really, really, really adored the original. This one obviously gives it that brotherhood treatment and focuses more on the actual story of the manga and makes it make sense and delves into the characters more. And we are getting just so much phenomenal like storytelling and beautiful animation, and I just love these characters so much. It's just such a rich tapestry of very diverse characters growing, developing, changing within relation to all the everyone else. Like, it is absolutely gorgeous and wonderful, and as Emma would say, makes us cry. Happy tears and sad tears every episode. So if you're a fan of shoujo and you're not watching Fruits Basket, you need to get on that for sure. Nathan, what's our next category and winner?
Oh boy, finally, something that I've watched. The next category is Best Fight Scene. And the winner went to Deku versus Overhaul.
Yes.
The sort of middling arc of season 4. This is sort of where we actually ended our My Hero Academia arc because we didn't want to give anybody spoilers that we're still watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and I rewatched this actually yesterday. And because when I first heard that this one, I was like, come on, that's not the best. Is it the best? I rewatched it. Oh my gosh. It is so authentic anime fight scene.
Yes.
Like flashbacks, storytelling, big dramatic pause scenes, like amazing animation through the whole thing. Like, for those that want to refresh, like essentially Deku has Eri strapped to his back as he is fighting Overhaul, who has essentially absorbed all of the power of his henchmen and turned into this giant, like, fleshy mutant bird, and they are fighting in the sky. It is a sky battle. It's so epic and amazing. And I was trying to watch, just like, I was like, where's the actual fighting? Because it keeps interspersing all of Overhaul's backstory and how he came to be and how he his relationship with Eri and how he went from sort of this like low thug in the Yakuza to this like maniacal evil villain character. And Deku is like, he's like doing his whole like, I'm going to be a hero no matter what thing. And I'm like, okay, Deku, you can go away. I don't really care about you. But Deku wins the whole fight with essentially one punch to get them in the air, and then the infinity 100% 1,000 punches. So
all the fists in the air.
All the fists appear and then just come in. And so I'm like, it's technically 2 punches. He almost one punch manned this enemy.
Yeah. It is the most anime fights of the fights. And it's right after that, like, you know, everyone else is incapacitated at this point, and you've just watched like Lemillion totally destroyed everyone else, and so you're like, it's such a triumph, you know, after all of the horrors that you've endured before that.
Yeah, Lemillion has like essentially lost his powers. Night Eye has like a giant daggered stone through his guts. Like Uraka and Froggy are like completely down for the count. like everyone is just completely wiped, and then you finally get to see Deku at 100% for the first time, essentially
Yes.
just going Super Saiyan because Eri is rewinding all of his injuries as soon as they are occurring. So you have this like
So good.
force of power of him just like ripping his body apart while she's instantly repairing it.
It's so good.
It's wild. And so like the thing is though, like, and I saw this comment like right under this award too, everyone is just sort of like, but the Endeavor versus Nomu fight, which is
Right?
like just a couple episodes later and is just as epic and like is
as epic.
so much more intriguing to me because I like Todoroki's story so much. So seeing his dad Endeavor like struggle with what it means to be the number one hero and then like try and earn his son's respect is so much more dramatic. But I don't know.
Absolutely. I would agree. Endeavor's story, like from a narrative standpoint, I like that fight better just because it turned like it really changed my perception of Endeavor like completely in that one fight. And for, Deku versus Overhaul, it's just already establishing things we already know about Deku. Like and we don't care about Overhaul because he turned out to be kind of a boring villain anyway.
Yeah. Well, he became very scary, but then Deku beat him in 2 punches. So it's like he didn't get to, really soar and flap his wings. Bird man. But yeah, I don't know. Deku's he's a paragon. I've said it before. I don't find him interesting, but everyone loves Deku, so he wins the fight, which is fine. It's okay.
It's all right. We still love it. All right, going on to Best Character Design. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun won, which is awesome. I've only watched a few episodes of it. It is not on like the top of my to-watch list. It is fun, cutesy, shenanigans, romance/horror.
Ooh, what? Why is it called Toilet Bound? That's kind of a very strange title.
It is. So he's a ghost, and he is basically bound to the toilet, the girl's bathroom.
Okay, very Japanese curse, I suppose.
He's very Moaning Myrtle-esque, except for actually having a personality. And then of course there's this girl who's like indebted to him for helping her out, and this guy who is of course like a ghost slayer, basically like demon slayer-esque, and is trying to defeat him, and yet they're all friends.
Okay,
it's great. I need to watch more of it, honestly. But I also wanted to mention that, like, I don't know, I feel like Tower of God and BNA, Brand New Animal, I think those have pretty cool character designs.
Yeah, I watched Tower of God because of its unique animation style and how it felt so drawn. Like, it feels a lot more like hand-drawn comic book style of animation than your typical sort of, computer animated modern animes are.
But you know what? Toilet Bound Hanako-kun can have this. It's a fun show. Okay. And speaking of animation, next category is Best Animation. Guys. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken is one of the best anime I've ever watched.
What?
It is so heartwarming and beautiful. It is basically like my soul portrayed back to me through an anime, through a screen. Because, guys, it's an anime about anime. It is a celebration of all that is animation. It is just two girls geeking out about animation and one girl profiting off of it. And they create this little animation club, anime club, so that they can make anime, and it's just like they go through the basics of like how animation is made, and like you just see it's basically all that I love about animation is that like animation can say so much and do so much more than live action can, and can just express so much more of your imagination. And yeah, our main character like just wants to build beautiful worlds and like exist in these alternate like places, and I love it. I'm not even done watching it, but I'm really 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 enjoying it. And maybe saying it's the best anime ever is a little overboard, but that's just like where I'm at right now because I'm watching it currently.
I have never even heard of this. Did it come out like recently?
I think it came out fairly recently. It must have been like the fall or something. I
Okay.
don't know for sure. But it is more recent, and it's definitely flown under the radar, I feel like, for a lot of people. But it's because it's not some big, shonen action show, which are the shows that get the most attention.
Right.
Um, it's more just like this beautiful love letter to the animated medium, and I really enjoy it.
Interesting.
But I have to admit, Jujutsu Kaisen has a pretty awesome animation. So
Yeah, but yeah, they can't sweep everything though.
true, valid. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Um, However, Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken is not done yet because it
Oh
also
boy.
wins Best Director, which also is totally valid, and I accept this. And yeah, it's recency bias, guys. I'm just like, yes, Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken can win everything, and I have no objections.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Well, I'll have to keep my eye out and see if, you know, your bias is well founded or not.
Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm absolutely positively right. All right, Nathan, what have we got for best English voice acting performance?
All right. Well, in terms of popularity contests, I don't think there could be a bigger popularity contest than everyone's love for the winner of Best VA Performance English. Hawks from My Hero won it, even though he's in what? 3 episodes?
Like 5 minutes total? It's fine.
5 minutes total? Yep.
Um,
Definitely the best performance, and not just a whole bunch of fans
Fangirls.
fanning the popular vote on this one.
Yeah, it's true. Because I feel like Aaron Phillips, who played Laurent in Great Pretender, did a very good job.
Hmm.
I think that's who I voted for. But I mean, you can't deny everyone loves Hawks.
I suppose.
However, for best voice acting performance Japanese, this winner is completely founded because it's ReZero, Natsuki Subaru, who this character is so. It's all about this crazy, crazy character development of Subaru, and the voice actor. Because I watch them all Japanese subbed because that I'm usually following it as it's going out, and because I honestly like this Japanese voice actor better. He does such a good job. This show is so emotional, and there's so many crazy terrible things that happen. Like he just like brings out that raw emotion, and it's so 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 well done. So um absolutely not a question. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
That's fantastic that even through a language barrier, you still can empathize and relate to this very raw character that's, big main character energy, unlike
Yeah.
Hawks, where this guy is in everything.
Uh-huh. It's true. It's true. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just such a great show too, and it truly, I think, would be less of a show if it didn't have such good voice performances. So Well done to everyone working on that. Nathan,
Mm-hmm.
is this next category your favorite?
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. All right, we're into the final stretch here of all of the bests, the big bests. No more of these little awards. We're in the bests. And this one is
Yeah.
best ending sequence, which hands down goes to Jujutsu Kaisen across all decades. It is absolutely amazing. Lost in Paradise is a great song. The amazing, like messy, hand-drawn styles of it is so fantastic. The like fun animation of all of the main characters getting to like live their lives outside of this world of curses is just fantastic. It's so happy and dancy and everyone just latched onto it. And it's also just like the weirdest tone shift to have like the most dramatic fight scene to ever happen in front of you, and then this just this whole dance party happen at the end of every show while you're just like, what just happened? Oh my, what? And then it's just like, well, I gotta dance now, I guess.
Honestly, that is what makes this ending so great to me is that you are just like in shock and awe about what just happened in this episode, and then all of a sudden you get the neon colors, you get the upbeat song, and you're like, what is life?
Yeah, it's wild, and it's only for this first arc of Jujutsu Kaisen. They changed it in the second arc, and I'm like, I don't like the second arc as much. It doesn't have the same ending sequence.
Why does this arc feel different to me? Why is it? Oh, it's the ending sequence.
The ending sequence. You have to watch Jujutsu Kaisen every week and get to the episodes so that you can watch the ending sequence.
That's all we really care about.
That's all we care about.
Oh dear. Yeah, this was like obvious winner. It's absolutely taken the anime community by storm. I have seen so many parodies of this ending sequence, but for other shows and other characters. And they're all great.
It's so fantastic. It's so good.
My favorite is like the Attack on Titan ones, because it's that same vibe of like watching these very, very serious, dramatic characters go shopping.
Just imagine if Attack on Titan had an ending sequence like this. The show would be so much more wild.
That would be so great. Please do this. Mappa, hear us out. This is what we need. Oh dear. On the flip side, best opening sequence. I have not watched Beastars, and
Oh,
so I don't have opinions actually.
really?
But
Okay.
Beastars won.
I can hit you with this. I watched, I think, the first 4 episodes of Beastars and then stopped.
Great.
Because it was a little too weird for me, which is very strange to say when you're talking about anime, but it's essentially a shoujo high school sweetheart anime where everyone is animals, and personified animals really freak me out. So
Valid.
I gave it a shot. I could not tell you what the opening sequence looks like, but pretty good. If I remember right, it was a lot of wolf motifs, because the main character is a wolf that is trying to not eat everyone else on campus.
Great. It's Zootopia, but with really different CGI animation.
Yes, it is very Zootopia, but kind of scary. I don't know.
Well, congratulations to Beastars as it is. I will say I am a little bit disappointed that Daddy Daddy Do from Kaguya-sama Love is War did not win this one. But hey, that's my personal bias because that is a bop. And all the characters are adorable in it. So
Oh, and it beat Great Pretender. I really liked Great Pretender's opening
really good
because
OP.
it was so it had the very like Cowboy Bebop sort of spy theme
Mm,
of everything sort of falling around. And
yeah,
let's be real, Cowboy Bebop is the best opening sequence of any anime ever. So
truly one of the
if you
best.
can if you can garner any resemblance to Cowboy Bebop's opening, 5 stars in my book.
Exactly. Well, someone who really loves Beastars, please email us at fanmadepodcast@gmail.com and tell us all the reasons why this deserved to win. And congratulations to you. All right, all right. We're getting into two of my favorite categories. Best girl and best boy. I feel like these are the just superfluous, random, doesn't matter categories that I care too much about. This is what is so much fun about being an anime fan is you're just like, but this character is best boy, but this one, and it's great, and it doesn't really matter at all. So best girl, obviously, goes to Kaguya from Kaguya-sama. Um, again, there are so many on this list that are amazing. Actually, I think I might have voted for Katarina Claes, but Kaguya is great. What's wonderful about her is that she is very, very analytical and clever and smart, but is actually kind of an idiot.
I love it. I love that.
Because she can overthink everything to the extreme, but she doesn't understand basic social situations.
Oh boy.
So it's the best combination because gets her into a lot of trouble that she doesn't even understand she's in. And she is like, she'll be in one like catastrophe, but she's totally focused on a totally non-relevant catastrophe in her own mind. And so she's like completely going like, Queen's Gambit style, like,
all the numbers rushing down the screen.
Yes. But it's like, girl, you're missing the point. So I'm very glad she won. She's great.
That's awesome. I'd like to shout out Noi here from Dohori Dohoro
Yeah.
on the bottom. I don't know if you've watched that anime, but
I have not.
Noi is like a really strong, powerful sorcerer who is got a great partner that she's kind of in love with as well. But they have this whole um, kind of partnership where they're essentially henchmen for the main evil guy, but they're just sort of like doing their own lives and like doing their own stuff, and like they get into weird situations and like have to go to like a baseball game and have to like go to a fancy ball. And she's just a very wonderful, well-rounded character in that show that only essentially has like 5-ish characters. It's on Netflix, fully English, dubbed, and little can be a little bloody, a little gory. The sorcerers are there to fight and kill people. They are big buff henchmen, of course, but it's a really interesting sort of like anthology of stories where it does have a through line, but every little episode's a little bit different.
That's super cool. It's definitely one that I have heard a lot about and heard lots of good things, and I have not gotten around to it yet. So, an anime that Nathan has seen that I have not? What?
Hey, see, I didn't look at any of these nominations, and there's actually a lot more on the nominations that I know than the actual winners. So,
Well, now you have more incentive for you to vote next year.
I guess.
In any case, I don't think you'll have any qualms with the next winner. So let's.
Oh man, my favorite. He is the best boy. He is. I am so excited about the best boy. The best boy is Hinata from
Yes.
Haiku.
Yes.
That the little giant, the firecracker. He is the best. He wants to be the best. He is the best. He's number 10. Oh my gosh. I love Haiku so much. It is so fantastic. I should watch more Haiku now that I sit here and think about it. Because I would think I'm only through like two seasons, 3 seasons. I don't remember.
Yeah, I need to finish it too, but I just don't want it to end. But
Yep.
it's so good. It's so good.
It
It's
is so
got best
good.
boy.
He's the best boy. He is the best.
He's the best because he is just so passionate and like is going to do his best to win, but it's also like it's not like in other animes that have this type of character where it's like I'm going to murder everyone on the battlefield. It's like I'm going to beat you in volleyball and then I'm going to become your best friend.
He's the best boy on and off the court.
Yes, that is it. That is it. Hinata wins for sure. Not a question. However, I redact that statement. There is one question. Because here's one of the reasons I love a Tower of God.
Oh, I didn't even see. Oh my gosh. Kun. Kun is a very
Kun.
different best boy. Let us
Yes.
be clear.
Yes, they're very different. But Kun is like one of the main reasons I love Tower of God so much. He is just like super mysterious and analytical, and like it's like you have all of these characters that are in this tower, and he is able to utilize and read all of them, you know, and like really strategize and play the game. He himself doesn't, I mean, he is super like talented, you know, combatant, but he's mostly is like more of just like the I'm gonna move these pieces into play and let them do things, and it's just like, and he knows what's going on. I just like, he's a fascinating character.
Yes, incredibly. That's why I'm saying he's a very different best boy.
Yeah.
He's almost an antagonist in that show. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
almost a villain type character, which is so fascinating that they get to put so much attention onto him because he's part of the group. He's part of the big three. You know, there's always the
Yeah.
trio in anime, and so to put such a sort of divisive character right in the middle of the whole thing is fantastic. Also, when he puts his hair up in that blue ribbon, and then just it's on. You know it's on.
Ah! Ah! Okay, I love Coon so much.
Oh my gosh.
Wear that little hair ribbon.
There's
Okay.
so many good best boys in this section. I'm so glad that Honest Voldigod is in here as too from the Misfit of Demon King. We talked about this a while ago on What You Watching, but I absolutely love that show, and I don't think it flew under everyone's radar just because it's such a simple little show of this like demon lord essentially being brought back to life and no one believing him that he is like the ancient demon lord. And so everyone's
Yeah.
just like, no, of course not. And he's like, well, let me show you. And he just like blows everyone away with some magic power that's unbelievable. And he just is unstoppable. And like that whole show has such a amazing arc of like weird, like fighting against the social ladder and like creating unlikely alliances and a grand, like self-sacrificial ending. It's just absolutely amazing. And so I'm glad they got a little recognition here because that show went so under the radar, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very specific taste because it is, but I will admit it it makes fun of the isekai kind of tropes in the absolute best way. Like it is so clever and it's over the top without like losing me. You know what I mean? If that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like it's over
Hmm.
the top and crazy and it's like I can't believe, but I'm also like I totally believe I'm here. It's almost like it throws your suspension of disbelief out the window and it's like there is no belief or disbelief here in this realm.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at it. But yeah, it is a very differentish show. It's got a lot of classic elements, but it also really breaks the mold in a bunch of different ways.
Absolutely. It's definitely a very challenging category. Still, though, Hinata is best boy.
Yep, best boy.
He's best boy. Can't argue with that. Now we're moving on to best antagonist. We have the big bad of Jujutsu Kaisen. And how do you feel about this one, Nathan?
Oh my gosh, is he even an antagonist? I suppose.
Hmm.
But we're talking about Sakuna, the like ancient curse that Midoriya has swallowed his fingers, the evil curse fingers, and this curse essentially takes control of Midoriya's body and gives him like absolutely amazing strength and fighting powers, but is also trying to undermine Midoriya at every turn because he wants control of his body. And so they're making pacts and they're fighting and they're tearing out their own heart and, trying to destroy everything around them, but also wanting to work with Midoriya in order to continue to live. And so I feel like there's almost a partnership between them that makes one Midoriya a really interesting main character, that he is both the protagonist and apparently the antagonist in this, award system. Very interesting.
I think this is the only category that I do very firmly disagree with
Mm-hmm.
because we don't really get to see a lot of this demon in the show. Which, I mean, he has that mysterious atmosphere. It's like there's this looming threat over our heads that he has made this deal that no one else remembers or knows about. And we aren't really sure what he wants. But then again, we do. It seems like the very like typical. I don't know. Maybe not. I guess in my head, I'm reading it as like he just wants to cause chaos / take over the world sort of business. Destroy all the other sorcerer people. But there's someone on this list who is so vile, so manipulative, so just has made me cry multiple times. And actually, I'm thinking about two of these nominees at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking at 3 and I'm like, which one are you talking about?
But who I really think should win this is Akito Soma.
Oof, okay.
Okay, Akito is the main antagonist of Fruits Basket. They are absolutely off their rocker. And okay, you're going through Fruits Basket. Sweet, precious baby Cinnamon Roll Toru is meeting all of the Soma members, all the family members who have this curse. And she is like just peeling away all of their layers and peeling away all, digging deep into the heart and core of who they are. And almost every time, Akito is at the heart of their trauma. And
just one dude, just causing trouble.
like, Akito is the leader of the Soma clan, so they don't know how to pronoun them anymore. But Akito has all of this power and expectation thrust upon them, and totally takes it too far. Just wants control. That's what it is. It's absolute control. Every single episode they're in is way more frightening than Jujutsu Kaisen, because it is like the heart pounding, just so abusive. Like it's this. I can't even speak right now. I'm just so overwhelmed with emotion about this fictional character that I'm afraid of.
Yeah, well, with the like shoujo, it's more realistic. Like we don't have to be scared of Sakuna. Like, there's no curses trying to possess us after we eat their demon fingers. But everyone knows, like, some mean person that's caused a lot of people hurt and pain in their life.
Yeah. And it's absolutely true. And so Akito just brings out, I mean, it, so much pain and hurt for everyone in this show. And I mean, ultimately, I just hope that Toru can reach out to Akito too and save Akito from himself. Yeah. There's my little rant about Akito and how I think Akito is the best antagonist. However, I mean, Rachel.
Yeah, I was like, you got Rachel, then you also got a ReZero character in there. I'm like, they all sound pretty bad. But
Yeah.
can we even talk about why even saying that Rachel is an antagonist
Is
a kind of a spoiler? So now, sorry everyone, you should have skipped over that if you were gonna go watch Tower of God, which you should go watch Tower of God, but
Yeah.
Don't trust her.
Don't trust Rachel.
Don't do it.
And one other, like, even when you start to kind of suspect Rachel, what really hurts is just seeing everything from Bam's perspective. Like, not going to go, like, too deep into this, but, like, Bam is such a precious baby angel, and I want to protect him. And the ending of this season just made me like, oh my gosh, I'm very concerned, but it makes me very excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So many good antagonists. I won't even get into ReZero right now because we've talked about the antagonist a lot already. But wow, that's a whole other story. If you want to do like kill count, I don't know. She might win. Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So let's move on to something a little more. Well, this is actually kind of interesting, moving on to best protagonist, because technically this best protagonist is an antagonist.
We love complex characters.
Yes, we do. Oh, man. And so you could even, like, with these two winners, protagonist and antagonist, you could switch them and it would still work. Oh, I'm so excited to have this opportunity to tell y'all about my next to life as a villainess. All roads lead to doom.
That is a mouthful of a title.
It is absolutely a ridiculous title. But my next life as a villainess is another great isekai. So many good isekai this year. And now this really is a very fluffy shoujo nonsense. That absolutely, I mean, it's just ridiculous in the best ways. It follows this character who used to be kind of a nerdy loner schoolgirl who played the like dating simulator video games, and she ends up dying, coming back to life in the world of this video game that she used to play. Except instead of, being the protagonist of the game where you like meet all of these romantic interests, she is reincarnated into the villain of the video game. So she knows that in the video game, if she does certain things, like her endings, the different endings of this game, Katarina Claes either ends up like banished or imprisoned or dead, basically. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to avoid her doom. And so she basically does everything she can to she learns how to garden and stuff. Like she's trying to like prepare herself, like if she was banished, like could she survive on her own, like that kind of thing. and she tries to make friends with literally everybody because she doesn't want to be the villain. Which basically, so there's the catch, and here's the surprise that isn't a surprise. This is not a spoiler because it's the journey that counts. Instead of becoming the villain, literally every other playable character in this video game, boy or girl, the gender doesn't matter, it falls in love with Katarina Glaze.
Oh boy. The best endings to the dating simulator. Enemies to lovers.
And so it's basically Katarina going about her life trying to get all the other people like to match up with each other. But they won't because they're all in love with her. And
she's still the villain? I'm so confused.
Well, she's the villain because she is engaged to one of the main guy characters, and she still is. And so the idea is like the protagonist comes to this school, and man, I'm just telling y'all the whole story, but like you just need to watch it. The protagonist comes to the school, and it's like, oh, rich dreamy guy, oh, but he's engaged to Katarina. And like, so, and Katarina's trying to like keep you from her betrothed, which honestly, when I say it like that, it makes sense. Like he's engaged, back off. But yeah, what actually ends up happening is like even before they go to the school, she has already like befriended everybody. And so when the protagonist shows up, the protagonist doesn't even care about anyone else because she ends up falling in love with Katarina too.
Oh boy. What a weird backwards mix-up story.
It's so good. And Katarina is like too thick to notice that any of them have fallen for her.
She's like playing the game with cheat modes on and doesn't realize it.
Yes, it's so good. It's so good. It's just a fun, good time, and I highly recommend if you just need something like ridiculous and fun. And I love them all, and it's hilarious. And Katarina is the best protagonist. Interestingly enough, we have Enos Voldigod on this list as well.
Yeah. Hey, there he is.
There he is, and Hinata.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
favorite boy, Doria.
Yeah, there we go.
Kaisen.
Lots of good options, but it does, even though it surprises me a little bit that Katarina won, I'm very happy about it. So, with all of that, we've talked about a lot of anime. Just there's a lot going on, a lot we're excited about, a lot that we enjoyed last year. And Nathan, bring us home with the best anime of the year.
The best anime of the year is currently still releasing. It's not even fully out this year, but we've talked about it a lot. I've talked about it a lot. It's Jujutsu Kaisen. It's my favorite anime of the moment. It's absolutely fantastic. The characters are so interesting. The action is amazing. The animation is amazing. The storyline is a winding path of battles and like extremes and villainry, and it's an overall really classic, really good shoujo battle anime.
I would agree. It is every, shonen otaku's dream. So it's and with really, really good animation. Like these fight scenes are really, really well done, guys. It's just so smooth and so cinematic. Like I still go back to that, like that first fight between their names. I'm so bad at them. Goju or wait.
Yeah, Goju is the like blind sensei.
Yeah.
With the face mask.
With the beautiful eyes.
The beautiful, yeah. Well, when we were talking about best fight, I was like, was that an option? Because it like probably hadn't come out yet honestly. Like that
Mm,
fight scene, like
yes.
I know that's episode like 5 or 6, but that's still like I don't know, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago when
Yeah,
that
it
first
all of
came
the
out.
nominees had to be like between like through November, I think.
Oh, actually, it is here nominated. It's Gojo versus. Oh no, it's Gojo versus Sunika. That's the wrong fight.
At the very beginning?
That's the one at the very beginning, not the one in the 5 episodes later in the
Oh yeah,
Volcano
volcano one.
Man's curse.
But actually, the that one at the very beginning, honestly, okay, I love Overhaul and Deku fight, but that one should have won because guys, that animation is so good in Jujutsu Kaisen because that's the one where he's like punching and throwing, and you're like the camera is spinning around the characters, and it's like whoa, it's so good. The animation, guys.
Oh yeah, oh boy, that's the one. Okay, so Goju is just showing up and finds Midoriya and like is about to essentially kill Midoriya because he's filled with all of his curse energy. And then Midoriya's just like standing there, like looking at him, just like talking like a normal guy. And he was like, "What is happening? What's going on?" He was like, "Oh, I don't know. I ate this weird finger thing and it went down weird." And he was Goju's like, Sunika? Uh, come out for 10 seconds and then Adoria take back control. And so he like transforms into like the evil cursed character version of himself and he fights Goju for like 10 seconds and it's absolutely amazing like Kelly was saying. And then Adoria just like coughs and comes back and it's just like, what happened? you, you beat him? You got him? And Goju's just like, come with me to my magic school. And it was like, okay.
It's so good,
Right.
guys.
I think the Goju we like are messing around with all this, but the Goju versus I don't know the character's name, but he's like a curse with a volcano
Volcano
for a
head.
head, a volcano head. That's one of the most amazing animations I've like ever seen because so Goju has um, a blindfold on all of the time, and so but he acts like he's fully seeing. He doesn't act like he's blind. He has like a full peripheral sense of like everything that's going around him and he's usually fighting with the blindfold over it. And so he gets like trapped by this volcano head curse and gets put into his like cursed sphere, like his domain, like they call them like cursed domains, and it's like all
Mm-hmm.
fiery and rocks and lava. And he's like, now that you're fully encapsulated in my cursed domain, yours no escaping. And Goju was like, no escaping. I'll show you no escaping. And like takes his blindfold off, and he has the most brilliant, dazzling blue eyes you've ever seen. And it's
Beautiful.
just beautiful. And then it's just like infinity, cosmos, and galaxies behind his eyes. And he like just turns it on a head and goes, no, you are trapped in mine, let you experience everything. And then the whole world is just like an expanse before the two of them. And Volcano Head is like just reeling with information because he's essentially just like flooding him with everything that exists in the entire universe at once. And Goju just like very calmly like walks up to him and goes, now you have experienced what I can see, and then just like punches him in the face. And it's great.
It's so good. Oh man, what does he call it in his domain? Like infinity or something?
Yeah, he's like, it is now infinity, and you're like, what? And the whole like world just like warps around them, and it's like obviously like a screensaver in the back of them, but I still think it's just beautiful and crazy, and just like what a turnaround. And he's easily one of my favorite characters in that show of
Agreed.
Goju the Sensei. Um, he's so happy-go-lucky all of the time because he knows he's the most powerful person in every room, and he
Yes.
he throws that weight around. It's
Oh,
so much fun to watch.
it's so good. It's so good. And him being an authority figure
An
is
authority figure in quotes. He's the sensei, but like Oh my gosh. In the middle of that fight with Volcano Head, he was like, this would be a good thing for Adoria to watch. And he like rushes off screen, comes back on screen in an instant with Adoria. And you're just like, how did you, what? Like he moved like the Flash. And the Volcano guy is just like, what just happened? And he was like, Dorio, watch this. And he's like, this is how you exercise a curse. And the curse is just like yelling at them. And he's just like very calmly just being like, man, this is fine. I know what I can do. You stand no chance against me.
It's so good. So good. Goju is like one of the best characters. Oh, man. Yeah, so honestly, Jujutsu Kaisen is anime of the year.
Well deserved.
It is, yeah. Um, so yeah, congrats to all the winners and all the nominees and just all the anime that we got last year. It was like ended up being a really good year, despite the circumstances. Next year is going to be even crazier because even it's only February and we've got like how many phenomenal shows out? This season is insane, guys.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to compete with next year for things. Before we wrap up, is there any honorable mentions that you think got snubbed in overall? I'm looking at some of these and I am a little disappointed that God of High School didn't win anything. I thought God of High School was a phenomenal show with an amazing ending. It has incredible fight choreography. It might have been a little bit exclusively fight choreography because the entire show is essentially a tournament arc, but the concept of like these different martial arts styles being portrayed in animation and each one of these fighters having some sort of like ancestral like spirit domain power is fantastic, and then the twist at the end that I won't spoil was also absolutely amazing of Jim Mori's power. And so I'm surprised. I'm looking over it and they got some nominations for some things, but they didn't win a single category. So I'm wondering if it just doesn't have the fan base of the other ones. But
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe that's kind of part of the reason there. Hmm. Um, yeah, and you even say like, "Oh, the phenomenal ending," and I'm over here like, "I didn't finish that one."
yeah, it's like it's a little bit of a way to get through because it kind of is it's like strangely repetitive and yet not. Like I think it builds along on itself with like a decent elegance. Um, but it does have some very kind of strange twists and turns that maybe not everyone. I just think it's an absolutely hilarious show. Like in terms of comedy, that's a comedy show where they're all just like overly powered human beings trying to function in a normal society.
Oh my goodness. That's so it is so fun. It's so great for sure. Yeah, like as I go through these, I mean, even thinking back to, Emma and I reviewed all of the animated things we'd watched over the past year in our 2020 animated year in review. And I had just talked about Fruits Basket and Tower of God, and both of them, won something here. So I can't be too disappointed about that because, I mean, again, Fruits Basket is just one of my favorite anime of all time. Get emotional just thinking about it. But I guess the only other thing that didn't win anything and that I mentioned way earlier was Ascendance of a Bookworm. But I think it just doesn't have a big enough fan base for something like this, even though I personally just really treasure that show and am really looking forward to more of it. So yeah, I think we have a lot of well-deserved winners here.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, yeah. Hopefully, if you haven't, watched all these, you have heard us talk about some that you maybe need to go back and listen to. Let us know what you think should have won any of these categories. Do you agree with this list? Do you not? I mean, it's all completely irrelevant anyway, so it can be whatever. Like, just because Crunchyroll says these are the best doesn't necessarily mean they are. So let us know. You can email us at fanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. Message us on Instagram and Facebook at fanimatedpodcast. We're on Twitter too. I never mentioned that because I'm never there, but we're there if you want to say hi.
If you want to yell into the void of Twitter.
Yeah, I avoid that area of the internet. What else? Our music is provided by Purple Planet Music. The art is done by myself. You can find my Instagram at CandorDraw. And yeah, thank you, Nathan, for joining me. We'll be talking about, Bryn and I will be talking about Lilo and Stitch next week. So get ready for that, guys. And yeah, anime. There's so much anime. There's so much anime.
Anime is not one genre, and it's fantastic.
It's a medium, not a genre, indeed. Anyway, with all that said, thanks again for listening, guys. And as always, stay tuned.
And stay animated.
So, hey, maybe next time Nathan's on the show, we'll get to talking about Attack on Titan? ?
Oh my gosh. I'm still not going to start it yet, Kelly. But yes, we will talk about it when it is finished. If it does finish.
I don't think it's going to. I think we have another 2-parter on our hands.
Oh boy.
The final season, sure.
The final season, part 1. The final season, part 2. The final season, part movie.
Yeah. What if they just did Attack on Titan, the final season, the final season.
The postscript, the postscript, the postscript script post.